Hello and welcome to my garden. I'm trying to get my garden into spring so that the problems that I saw last year, I'm going to try to deal with them one by one as we go into spring. I had a problem with this pot, and you can see it's starting to bloom. This is a dahlia plant, but there's another plant in there. So I'm going to have to uproot it and separate them. I want you to take a look at these leaves and compare it to these leaves. They're not very much different from each other, but these leaves seem to be coming up. It's not yet opening, but this one's looking another shade of green, and the leaves are already open. You can see they're in threes. When this happened last year, I didn't really notice these differences, so I let it carry on growing. But this year I'm putting these two pots beside each other so that you can understand what I'm saying. Because by this time last spring, this was what happened. In that pot, you could see the leaves looked different. There were two plants in there. And as I would come in and go out, I could tell that there was something odd about the leaves on these plants, because there was a portion that had these bright green leaves, and so I started touching it all over and realized it was growing out as a vine. It's not a dahlia, it's a blackberry vine. It's too late to uproot it at this stage, so what I did then was to cut it right down to the soil, and I had to do this about 2 other times during the summer. It did not really affect the dahlia plant, but it's just much better for it to be able to grow peacefully. This is the dahlia from last year. I had to cover it so that it wouldn't have rain going into it. So this is the fingers of gloves. I cut them off and I use them in my gardening. So I'm going to take this, just keep them again, find a use for it. And now there's dahlia in here and blackberry. I'm going to carefully shimmy it out to see which one is doing. So it's coming out now. Carefully welcome it and receive it. So I'll show you what I find inside. Don't let me waste your time. This is not too good. This is the Blackberry, the Intruder. I think it has ruined my dahlia. It's time for me to cry. But I don't know. Can you imagine? I'll still plant it, but this was the only one that was holding on, and then it just broke off. It was just there in the soil. Well, I'll just put it back in, and I'll plant you somewhere else and see what you have to offer. So I've separated it. And so there it is. I'll put it back and just take a chance and see if it still survives. Because I think, and I put the blackberry in here and see what it comes to. I'll return them to their normal places later. In this pot, I cut the stems to about 4 to 6 inches and heavily covered and mulched the soil with leaves, and I left it outside. I only brought it in when it was about to snow, and they stayed indoors for 2 weeks. Now it's growing back again, and I'm just going to put more compost. And next, this is my white dahlia from last year. This is how the bulbs are supposed to be. I had to take this in because the white dahlias are known to not be able to survive the winter. It's already coming back. And this is a very good time to replant it because spring is here as well. You want to use a pot that is about 4 or 5 times the size of your bulbs. I don't try to cut my bulbs every year because that would mean getting a separate pot. So I just plant it together, and I have one plant with many main stems. That makes it look more beautiful, and I actually enjoy that. Put the soil on it, and do not press down too hard, considering that the thing has already started to grow. And just pat it down, get some water. It's already started to grow, so you can safely put water now. This will help your dahlia to be on its way to growing beautifully for the season. Reawaken it in the spring so that you will always have gorgeous dahlias in your garden. These are pictures of my dahlia in the past year that I am remaking in this video. I hope you've been able to understand how to rescue your dahlia if it's got an intruder. Purchase seeds or bulbs. To me, they're equally good. Thank you very much for watching this video. Bye.